Hi guys, my name is Nick Broughton and I'm Randomfish. If you're Randomfish too, hit that subscribe button. Let's be Randomfishes together, shall we? So, today is the day that I talk about comics. Last time I tried this, it was kind of a disaster. Forgive me, editing is not exactly my forte. I need to find someone to help me do that myself. If you happen to know anybody, or if you are someone, please either leave your name in the comments where I can contact you, or message me on YouTube, or alternatively contact me through my Facebook page of the Randomfish Project. Thank you. So today I'm going to talk about comics, and this is one of my all-time favourites. This is one that I don't know if many people know about, or if anyone really thinks about, or anything like that, but it's this one, Batman Battle of the Cowl. Batman Battle of the Cowl is one that was written after Batman's supposed death at the hands of Darkseid and his Omega Beams. If you don't know who Darkseid or his Omega Beams are, then you probably shouldn't be watching this video for starters, because, I don't know, it just seems weird to me. But if you're here to learn, fantastic. Darkseid is essentially the almighty, what would, in terms of Infinity War concepts anyway, Darkseid is the Thanos of the DC universe. I think it's the best way to describe him, really. Power hungry, thinks of himself as a god, has a massive, likes to cause problems, and basically can kick the entirety of most of the Justice League's asses. The funny thing about Darkseid and Batman and their entire relationship is quite literally because Batman is the only one to have ever avoided the Omega Beam. He managed to outsmart it, which to Darkseid is possibly one of the greatest things he's ever seen happen. So he constantly has a respect for Batman, yet still wants to kill him. Which I think is kind of cool. But anyway, moving on. In the story, in that story of Final Crisis, Batman is supposed to be killed by Darkseid's Omega Beams. We later find out it's something different, but that's not the point. Within the concept of believing that he's dead, Gotham City falls into absolute chaos. Because Batman is no longer there to protect it. His suit is hanging up in a place somewhere, his body has been buried, Alfred is basically still doing his thing, and his various allies and old partners and whatnot have all come together to help keep Gotham from falling out into chaos completely. The small-time thieves have suddenly thought of themselves as trying to go up the ladder to become big part-time characters. Black Mask is back on the rampage, and all various characters have all sort of come out of the woodwork in a vague attempt to take control of Gotham. But like I said, a whole bunch of Batman's old allies and old partners have all banded together in order to keep Gotham City safe. This group is primarily led by Nightwing and the Tim Drake Robin. Not yet Red Robin, he's still in his Robin costume, but he hasn't quite ascended to Red Robin status yet. Which is fair enough. Dick Grayson leads a whole team of various characters in various names. I'm not going to bore you with all of them because that would just take forever to sort of name. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Everyone is attempting to keep Gotham safe, and then they discover someone calling himself Batman has wandered in and is starting to kick butts and take names aside from them. This guy wields machine guns, he has more of an advanced weaponry, he is basically a Batman who kills, and Dick, as well as the other members of Batman's entourage, aren't happy about this, so they seek to track him down. Damian Wayne is also involved in this story. He is yet to become Robin, but he does put on the Robin suit throughout the story, which is kind of cool to see. It's kind of the first time you see him properly wearing the Robin suit, within the concept of being able to sort of use it within continuity. At least, this is the pre-52 era, so you kind of have to roll with these things. There's a rather interesting conversation which I think kind of sums up Battle of the Cowl in a good way. Dick is in the Batcave, he's looking at the Batman costume, and he's remarking on how angry Bruce would have been to see that they've let Gotham go to hell, as far as that's how he sees it. And Tim Drake is trying to remind him that at some point one of them is going to have to put on the cowl. One of them is going to have to become Batman. It's the whole story of Bruce Wayne can die, Batman can't, due to the fact that Batman needs to survive because Batman is a symbol that Gotham looks to for hope. And without Bruce, that hope has to be worn by someone else. Dick Grayson, on the other hand, is unfortunately very aware that he doesn't want to become Batman, purely because he knows Bruce doesn't really want him to. Plus, there's the whole Dick Grayson belief that he feels like he shouldn't have to become Batman. He should become his own hero. The Dick Grayson story, in essence, over the years, has been trying to get out of Batman's shadow. He's refusing to allow himself to be defined by Batman, by Bruce Wayne. So he became Nightwing, he moved to Bloodhaven, another city near Gotham, basically, to become his own person, to become his own hero. He's not trying to be bound by Batman's rules. Throughout the story, approximately 3 people put on the Batman suit. The imposter, who's pretending to be Batman with the machine guns, whose identity I will reveal in a moment. Tim Drake, that just fell over, fun times. Tim Drake, who puts on a much more, an old blue version of the Batman suit. If you'll notice, over the years, Batman in comics, as well as in TV and various other things, has had different looks. In the comics especially, he's gone through 3 very specific looks. He's gone through his normal black with the yellow insignia and the black cape and cowl. There's one where he's kept the insignia, but he's gone blue with the boots and the cape and the mask, which is kind of cool. And then the latest one, the one that he's used most often, this is within the pre-52 limit of dark, but with a black bat on it, on a grey suit and a black cowl and cape. That's the one that works best, I feel, with the Batman character, because of course he's trying to blend in with the Knight, so to dress like the Knight would work, of course. But then here comes the other thing. Tim Drake puts on the suit in order to go off and find this imposter Batman in an attempt to stop him. During which time, Dick Grayson and Alfred have a heart-to-heart where Alfred essentially tries to convince Grayson to become the new Batman. They then manage to discover exactly who this Batman wielding machine guns is, and it's Jason Todd. Surprise, surprise. It doesn't even surprise me when people are disguising these things and they get to reveal it, because in Batman, at the very least, it's nearly always revealed to be Jason. This might be because he's a combination of the most resourceful Robin and yet the most predictable Robin, because he seems to only want to do one thing, to become someone to try and remind the members of the Bat family just how close to him or how similar to him they really are. Jason does this thing where he dresses up as Batman, but he has a much more militaristic style. In other words, he has machine guns, but he also has lost, with Batman, the cowl only covers for the top half of his face. The lower half, the mouth, is left unchecked. With Jason Todd, he's designed it so it has almost a knight's visor underneath. So it's like that. So he's kind of embraced the knight aspect, as in Knight, rather than, just being the knight. He is the knight of, the knight part of Dark Knight, which I think is kind of cool. He tries to convince Tim Drake to become his Robin, to which Tim Drake says, no. Damian Wayne puts on the Robin costume and saves him, despite being told, no, you're not going to wear the suit because it's too dangerous. Damian says, no, I was trained as an assassin, screw you. And he jumps in to help in the fight. Dick Grayson and Jason Todd end up having a massive battle in which Jason Todd again tries to convince Dick to become his Robin. He says, you should come along and be my Robin, it'll be amazing. We'll kick butt together. And Dick says no. He also shows Jason a video, a hologram that Bruce made for him, basically saying he's sorry that it's all fucked up, and that Jason is essentially never going to really become Batman because of the anger that he has. The fight ends with a possible death of Jason Todd, although we all know that he's going to survive. This is the guy that survived more falls off the side of a building than Batman has at this point, for crying out loud. So Jason has less of I feel Jason's death have less of an impact because he's already come back from the dead once. He's learned to survive a lot. and I do not believe for a second that he's dead permanently. Not a chance. There's a few characters that I would believe died, but I don't quite know. But the funniest one for me, at the very least, the one that I have the biggest respect for, is that at the very end you do get Damian Wayne as Robin, but you get Dick Grayson as Batman. Tim Drake goes off to become Red Robin, goes off to do his own thing in his own right, whereas Dick Grayson puts on the cape and cowl and becomes Batman, and then you get the new Batman and Robin story. Again, pre-52 era. This was what would be leading up to Batman Incorporated. This also gives in a nice little leeway, I feel, into the Robin dynamic. Throughout the years, Batman and Robin have all had, Batman and the various Robins have all had different things. And it's really cool to sort of see I'm going to focus on the main three, that everyone sort of mainly looks to. Damian Wayne has become one that everyone's looked to, but Damian Wayne, to me, kind of creates this other list that I honestly don't know about. But for me, the original three, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, those are the main three that I'm thinking about. Their dynamic to Batman is a very interesting one. Dick Grayson is the son. He is the firstborn. He is the first Robin. He created the Robin persona. He is, in essence, whether he likes it or not, or whether even Batman likes it or not, he is the true heir to Batman. He is not heir to Bruce Wayne. He is not heir to anything else. He's not heir to the wealth. He's not heir to the flying Graysons. He is the heir to Batman. He's going to become Batman, in one way or another. Whether he's wearing the costume or not, he will become the most Batman of them. Jason Todd inherited, inherited is a strong word, but I feel like Jason Todd inherited the greatest threat to Batman. He inherited his angst and his ego. The belief that criminals need to disappear, that they need to be put down. He takes it too far because he doesn't have Batman's restraint. He has just his rage and his anger completely pushed through to its most natural conclusion, which of course is Jason Todd, which is Red Hood, which is what he ultimately is. He's not a Robin much, and he's not much of a Robin anymore. Even if he was during the comics run, he's not been Robin for years. He's always been Red Hood for many people for a very long time. And Tim Drake is heir to Bruce Wayne. He is not just that. He is the guy. He is the most detective out of all of them, and he is the best Robin out of all of them. The problem is that Robin is not the main hero of that story. Batman is. So, to a lesser extent, Tim Drake is becoming the most Bruce Wayne of Bruce Wayne, but he is the one to become the one who would lead Bruce Wayne's life. And he would become the greatest detective after Bruce. He would be the greatest detective after Bruce Wayne. He has absolutely every skill possible. He is the most round-out Robin out of all of them. But to me, Dick Grayson was always the heir to Batman. It doesn't make him the greatest detective, but he is the heir to Batman. While Tim Drake possesses the mind of Bruce Wayne, but he possesses the mind of Bruce Wayne uninhibited by his desire to take down criminals in aid of his parents' murder. He is what Bruce Wayne would have been if he had not taken up the Batman persona. His anger about his parents, his quest for justice, it all would have been on Front Street. He would have spoken about it more openly. As Bruce Wayne, he would have had a lot more to do with it. Which I think is a very cool thing to sort of have. And then Damian Wayne, to me, I know I focus on the three main Robins, but Damian Wayne is, of course, like I said, he is becoming more prominent to people. And to me, at the very least, Damian Wayne is not a Batman heir. He is not an heir to anything outside of... He is what he was always groomed to be, is what he was always going to become. It's evident in the Batman Beyond comics when they find out about Damian Wayne and all this sort of thing. He is more or less the heir to the demon. For those of you who don't know, and those of you who are just looking to be educated, the Demon Head is another name for Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, the leader of the Guild of the League of Assassins. The League of Assassins spends their time essentially trying to topple the governments in order to maintain and create a new world. And Al Ghul has spent most of his life being simultaneously impressed and enraged by Batman. And at one point he even tried to create it so that Bruce Wayne would become the next head of the demon, become the next leader of the League of Assassins, to become his son, essentially. Hence why he wanted him to marry and be with Talia, his daughter, who incidentally is Damian's mother. Which is cool, because when Damian Wayne is introduced properly in the comics, he is introduced by way of that Talia turns up to Bruce as Batman, says to him, "I've had a child, he's yours, here he is." And Damian sort of just appears in Bruce's life, and he's this fully trained assassin. He's the darkest Robin to ever exist, even within Jason Todd standards. But he was a Robin that was trained by Ra's al Ghul. He was trained by the League. He was not trained by Batman. And he is slowly he was slowly trained by Batman, and he was given much more of a concept of heart and concept of soul. But I do believe in the darkest of my heart that Damian Wayne is in no way a part of the Batman and the Bat family mythos. Not because he's not a Robin, but because in the future these characters would all go off and do these things. If Batman should ever disappear permanently, Dick Grayson would become the Batman despite his own personal misgivings, or the best amalgamation he could create for himself to become Batman. Tim Drake would become the new Bruce Wayne. He would become a much more of a philanthropist, a much more of a true leader of men as a Bruce Wayne wannabe. Red Hood would go on being himself. He would take down criminals. He would not care about their deaths and everything else. And he and Dick Grayson would probably butt heads a lot, even if he was wearing the cape and cowl. But Damian, on the other hand, I feel Damian would help, and Damian would be there as much as he could. But his true nature is that he wants to take people down, and he doesn't care. Now, that either means he would end up working with Red Hood to a much greater goal, or he would leave Gotham entirely behind him. He would not touch his father's money whatsoever. He would go back into the mountains. He would find Ra's al Ghul. He would find the League of Assassins, and he would continue to train until he took over, and he would become the new head of the demon. That to me is what makes a proper part of it. That's what makes something. And anyway, this was me sort of discussing a large amount of the stories of the various Robins, of the Battle of the Cowl story. You know what? Here's a question for you. Who is your favourite Robin, and why? And all this sort of thing. And would you like me to do anything about these characters independently, like talk about each of their histories? If so, obviously, please leave a comment below. Do please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. I know I'm not exactly high quality or anything, but you know, I do feel like I want to sort of bring this out, and I do like bringing content to guys, even though all 15 of you probably don't all watch these videos, if I'll be honest. But anyway, here's hoping, and Randomfish out.